Klingon Hohkan Mach.
Bada Tumor. Fire streaks the heavens. Shoja Duro. Battle has begun.
Warriors of IKF, it is I, Kevash Sutai Reshtark, commanding officer of the IKV Veklar Bay. In light of recent events, I thought I would put my 2 cents in on the debate that's going back and forth about the proper way to start wars or play with the Feddies or any other group. But, as my father always said, a good story requires a drink. Ulich Judge. I must say, firstly, it makes me truly honored to be a Klingon in this day and time. Why do you ask this? Simply because there are those of us that remember the good old days. And I'm going to drop character here for a moment. And I want to talk about the good old days. I can't tell you how many times I go to conventions and I hear people talk about the good old days of fandom. And we're talking about the late 80s and really the 90s were the heyday of Klingon fandom and the Star Trek convention experience. What our brave Chancellor has done. Oh, there's much talk of, shame on him and shame on the IKF for disrupting a Fedi function. But what these people fail to realize is this is what we used to do in the good old days. Too often people gripe and complain about, I wish it used to be like the good old days. Well, there are people that are trying to make it like the good old days again and get some good old-fashioned role-play rivalry going again. So much charitable work was done in the 90s. I myself, through the 90s, was the commanding officer of the IKV Talon that was associated with CAG 4th Fleet in Florida. Claw 4th Fleet in Florida. I currently have a dual membership in both the IKF and CAG, and I love both organizations for different reasons. Our Chancellor took the initiative. Our Chancellor took that first step. And like a Klingon, did not sit on his laurels. No, warriors. Our Chancellor made it happen. And for that, his name will go down in honor. Even if nothing comes of this, and we can't get the Feddies and some of the other groups to play with us. His name will go down in honor because rather than sitting and complaining, he took glory like a Klingon. Now, I know some of you will say, this is a different day and time. People can't do this anymore, and you can't just walk in and disrupt something like you could in the 90s. And to that I say, yes, you can. And you should. Not mean-spirited. If you notice in the video, there was nothing mean-spirited about it. It actually reminded me of the fun that we used to have in the 90s. And how many chapters do you know, or how many organizations do you know that are at the forefront of trying to get this rivalry started again, and a fun rivalry? Always remembering, it is all done in fun. It is done in jest. There is no maliciousness meant in the real world. Some people take things way too seriously. What our Chancellor and what the IKF have done would have been applauded by everyone in the 90s. And should be applauded now, at this time. One of the reasons that several of us on the Veklar Bay came back out of dormancy in Klindom was simply because nothing was being done on the role-playing level. CAG and the Klingon Language Institute are doing amazing things for the Klingon language and preserving Klingon culture. Claw in Florida still has an annual Klingon feast that is attended by not only Klingons, but Fedis and other people. There are no vendors, there are no guests. It is simply Klingons being Klingons for a weekend of games, challenge, partying, oh yes, partying. And preserving the Klingon culture that we have. CAG is doing a bunch of wonderful things at this day and time. Some approaches are taken a little bit differently, and that's why there are different fan groups. But there should not be real rivalry between any of the groups. It should all be done in jest. And I want to talk to you briefly about what our groups in Florida did in the 90s. If those naysayers and those that think that what our Chancellor has done is somehow inappropriate or disrespectful, then you would have really hated what we did. I can think of several conventions where Federation ship flags were liberated from their owners and held at ransom until that Starfleet chapter donated to our charities, and vice versa. Yes, we had the Klingon jail. Yes, we had the Agony booth. But we also had Super Soaker competitions, barbecues, full contact croquet. Now that is a fun, original Klingon game. Tribble tossing. Oh, and tribbles. Tribbles would find their ways into everything. And our Chancellor earlier this year has given the impetus for us to continue the great Tribble hunt. Tholian webbing doors in the middle of the night at the hotel rooms with silly string and saran wrap. Hijacking Starfleet Region-7 ceremonies and turning them into a moment of Klingon honor and glory. Does this sound familiar to you? Does this not ring an echo in your mind of just a few days ago? But yet, you say, no, we can't do that. Yes, we can. We are Klingons. one of the wonderful things about Star Trek fandom, and especially Klindom in general, is that we have so many varied types of Klingon personalities. And the role play, the living culture aspect is something that has been dormant for way, way too long. So I applaud our Chancellor. I applaud you, fellow warriors in the IKF, and Claw, and CAG. If you are doing something to preserve the Klingon culture in your way, if you are doing something to spread Klindom in your own way, that is a wonderful, wonderful feat of glory and honor shall be yours. But honor your fellow Klingons. Do not become angry at something that another group did, provided that it was, not something completely out of left field where individuals get hurt or something like that. That's not what I'm talking about. But if it's happy, good role-playing, or trying to get that started, if it requires being hijacked, or a Starfleet chapter being hijacked because they won't communicate back, perhaps all that's needed is just one little brief gotcha to get some of the old-timers to go, oh yeah, we did used to do stuff like that. I've spoken to young Starfleet international members at conventions that wish, when I tell them the stories of the glory days, they wish that we had that type of thing going on nowadays. Well, we do, and we will. Our Chancellor Kethos has given us the go-ahead and has shown us the way. I cannot speak for the rest of you, my warriors, my brothers and sisters, sons and daughters of Kalis, but I can speak for the IKV Veklar Bay. We stand in solidarity with our Chancellor. And we, here in South Florida, will do everything we can to get this going again. Indeed, that was one of the reasons that our ship was founded. As I said before, we are members of the IKF, we are also members of CAG, and we are repetitioning Claw for membership. And why? Why do this? Why not just stick with one chapter and be done with it? Because, warriors, there is something to be learned from each Klingon organization. Sometimes what to do and sometimes what not to do. But we are all Klingons. We hear the songs and the deeds of Kalis and our fathers. Our blood boils with the fire of battle. One of the worst things that a Klingon can do is sit and enjoy comfort. No, my brothers and sisters, we need battle. Without it, we are nothing. Follow your heart, the heart of a warrior. Follow Kalis and his teachings. Look to guidance from your superiors. And in the next coming several months, you will see. Oh yes, you will see. On behalf of my crew and myself, to our Chancellor, Kethos, and our Vice Chancellor, Zarkon, the IKV Veklar Bay stands at your side, ready to assist. Glory to you, glory to the IKF, and glory to Klingons everywhere of all organizations.